And I'm going to stumble over what I was going to say now.
Famous last words, though. I mean, I felt the same way about tarantulas. I was scared to death of spiders. Like, I will never. Why would anybody want to own a tarantula? And then I got one, and then that slowly developed over a couple decades into having a basement full of them.
Yep.
But it was like, I have no interest in scorpions, and then you get one, and then before you know it, now you're fascinated by those. So maybe one day the same will be true with centipedes.
And it is true. And I was saying that about scorpions, and I was saying, oh, we'll watch videos and they fascinate me, but I don't ever want one. And now I've got one, and I think that once you get one, and then you realise actually I can look after it, and it isn't as scary as you kind of led to believe, or that you believe it is. And then you kind of see it in a different way, don't you? When you become a keeper of an animal, you look at them differently, or at least I do anyway. And then you realise actually, you do have the confidence to actually look after this animal. You will be fine. But still,
I feel like
on the centipedes.
Yeah. Well, with tarantulas and most scorpions, I kind of get the feel like it's something that initially I was nervous dealing with or afraid of, and after time and experience, I realized they're much more scared of me. Like I terrify them, and it kind of is like this understanding that develops, and this power differential kind of changes. But with centipedes, I feel like they're not scared of me at all. Like I'm still
centipedes
more
are not scared of anything, are they?
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully I'll get more comfortable with them as time goes on. But right now, it's like I'm afraid, and that's weird. A grown man to be saying he's afraid of something publicly, but that's why I haven't done any videos really on it. Is because like if it's out, I'll record some footage, but usually as soon as that light's on it and the camera's rolling, I get maybe like 20 seconds before it goes back down into hiding in its burrow and it's back underground, and you just can't. And with a lot of my tarantulas, like I'm rehousing them or something, I can take them out of their enclosure and film them on the table and get a lot of footage of them. But I'm not doing that with the centipede because that thing is so fast.
Say, you don't fancy doing that with the centipede, then?
I mean, it was hard enough doing. I did a video, the top 10 blue tarantulas, and I had pulled out my adult female Poecilotheria metallica and was sweating the entire time because, I mean, she's a pretty calm specimen. Like I got lucky in that aspect, but I also know that she's very fast and very venomous. Yeah. So I was like, I'm filming her and I'm getting more comfortable, but always in the back of my mind, I'm like, she could bolt faster than you can catch her, So luckily it went with no. There was an issue, like the table I use, which is a bone I got to pick with Mr. Grindler because I feel like he totally ripped off my table, but I'm just kidding. I have my table's like very low to the ground. It's maybe 1.5 feet, 2 feet off the ground, and I chose that table mainly just in case the tarantula were to run off the side, it wouldn't have very fall to, if like I was sitting down, it would be at the level my hands are. It's really low, and it's got this like fabric around the outside. So even if it went over the edge, it's not like a sheer drop. No. It has plenty of stuff it can grab onto. The issue I was having with my P Metallica though is that it would go over that edge, and once it kind of went over the edge and was out of the bright light, it would take off and go underneath the table. So I had to like take everything off the table, put the table on its side, capture it in a catch cup, put the table back, set it back on the table, record for a few minutes, and then it was back under the table again. I was like, Jesus, I was cussing up a storm.
Yeah, but we love that unpredictable side of them. Even though it was hard work, I bet afterwards you still felt satisfied. Like, yeah, I achieved the footage that I wanted. The spider gave me the runaround. All is gravy. Had good fun.
I think I even put out a video of me trying to record some footage of my scorpion, and just the it was like a time lapse video of getting like 5 seconds of shot, and then the scorpion just taking off in one direction, having to capture it, bring it back.
Yeah. I saw that video.
So frustrating.
It was just like running from one end to the table to the other. They don't cooperate, do they?
Not at all. Not at all. But then I have other species. It's like they know what I'm doing and they just want to show off. Like my Phonopelma hinsey, Texas brown tarantula, it was amazing. Like I would It would like just sit there at the table while I set up the camera and everything, and as soon as I start recording, would just slowly walk towards the lens or something. I was like, it's like you're trained to be on
Yeah,
TV or something.
it knew exactly what it was doing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
That's
I've got
nice
this
when they
strutting its
work with you.
stuff, showing itself off. Yeah.
So what species of reptile or invert in your collection are you the most nervous filming or interacting with?
I don't know. I would quite happily film any of them. I mean, I've got Histocrats gigas. They can be a little bit unnerving because they're quite quick uh, and can bolt out if you're trying to kind of get it to come out of its burrow so that you can take a photo or film it, with one force move and then it's gone and it's out over the side of the enclosure.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's anything that I wouldn't feel comfortable filming. I mean, most of the filming I don't do it how you do it, where I get them out and put them on the table and stuff. But if I'm, say, filming a feed-in, then I will have the lid completely off of the enclosure and, kind of camera right in there and then angles and stuff. Like yesterday, I filmed my Dolichethele diamantinensis, and that's a pretty quick tarantula when it wants to be, and it's not fully grown, so it's still at that skittish kind of stage. But I had the lid
Sure.
off of its enclosure, and I thought, well, I've got my catch cup, so I've got everything I need. If it bolts, then I'll get it. So I think if you go into it, and I'm very much like that, anything I do, I have to make sure that I've got everything I need right beside me. So your catch cups and everything, so that I feel in control. And if I feel in control, then I don't feel that nervous about filming. But like I said, I don't get them out like you do. I think if I did that, it would be a different kettle of fish. Like, yeah, I definitely wouldn't get my pokey out onto a table.
Yeah.
Just even the thought of doing that, I'm like, nah, nah. He's all good in his enclosure. But yeah,
So the people that are going to be joining this Fatal Fangs 3 feeding competition, do you have any tips or like suggestions about what they can do to kind of put the best video out there? Like, well, maybe what the judges are looking for, or what the audience would be looking for, or what you've learned from the past two Fatal Fangs, that what works and what doesn't work.
I think first and foremost, the video that I released yesterday had the three judges are on there actually giving what they're looking for. So I think the best thing is to obviously take what they're saying so that you can develop or create your video, your clips to please them and entertain them if you like. For me, I didn't enter Fatal Fangs 1, I entered Fatal Fangs 2, and I just filmed every single feeding that I did in the hopes that I was going to get some great takedowns. I wish, looking back now, I wish I'd have done it a lot differently. I wish I'd have got more camera angles and things. So, because a couple of mine were just overhead shots, or I didn't move the camera at all. My last few
Yeah.
rounds, I did move the camera. I tried to make the last few rounds my better clips. But in retrospect, I should have made all of my clips as if I was competing in the final round. So rather than using, say, what I thought was my weakest clip as for my round one, I went up against Mark's Tarantulas in round one with my
Oh,
weakest clip.
geez.
No, that was my
And that,
biggest downfall. So a bit of
yeah,
advice would be make each clip count as if you're taking part in the final with each clip. Because if you do that, then you shouldn't go wrong. And as long as you try your best and you put your best effort into it, then if you do get knocked out, then don't feel bad because you still put out a great clip. You still put the time and effort into creating that clip, and you're part of the competition regardless. So yeah, for me, I think definitely the biggest thing would be create each clip like you're taking part in the final, because you just don't know who you're going to go up against. And we've got some
yeah,
people this time round that have joined the Facebook group that haven't, well, they definitely wasn't in Fatal Fangs 2. And I'm very excited to see what it is they're going to bring. Yeah.
yeah.
Very
Yeah, I think I
excited.
I drive some people in the YouTube community a little crazy, because one of like my kind of mantras or I don't know exactly what you call it, but like I try anything I put out, on YouTube or even if it's on somebody else's channel, I film it and edit it as if a million people are going to see it.
Yeah.
Like would I be happy if a million people saw this video? Because you never know what could all of a sudden go viral for no reason at all. So I always want to kind of portray the channel in the best light possible, or have a great example of what kind of content I'm putting out there. So even if somebody's like, hey, will you film a 30-second clip they're talking about this whatever for a video I'm doing, it's like, yeah, I will, but I am going to use all my lights and cameras and mics and everything I can so that it's the best possible clip to put out there, which sometimes is ridiculous, and I understand that it's stupid, but it's also like, I don't know who's going to see it, and so I always want to kind of put my best foot forward with that stuff, and that's one thing that I have suggested to people, whether they're making a YouTube video or they're filming something for Fatal Fangs, like,
Yeah.
do the best you can with every video clip, even no matter how inconsequential it is, because you never know who's going to be watching it.
And that's it. That's exactly it. And I kind of do the same with my videos, I suppose. Um, it's, I mean, for me, it's got to be exactly how I want it to be first and foremost, and then I do have in the back of my mind, like, who's going to watch it? Is this going to be a big video? Will it be a tiny video? That kind of thing. And I think as long as you're happy with your content, then put it out there. And I'm going to stumble over what I was going to say now.